Alright, so I'm going to do a video on making random integers. And the reason why random integers is useful is because sometimes when you're doing a study, statistical study, you don't want to you want to make sure that your data is free of bias. So what you do is you randomly select numbers and then assign people this, well, you assign people those numbers, and then you make a random integer generator. It tells you which people to select. And so if I do it on a spreadsheet, all you have to do is just type in rand between parentheses equals rand between parentheses 1, 2. If I want to do it between 1 and 100, I would put down 1 as my lowest value, comma, 100 as my highest value, and then parentheses. And that here is the formula, and that's what's important. Now, you'll notice I have 56. Now, I'm doing this for an assignment that I have, and I want actually 20 random integers. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to A1, that's where my formula is, and you'll see there's a little square at the bottom, in the bottom right-hand corner. I put my cursor so it becomes a little T, and I drag down to 20, and sure enough, I now have 20 randomly generated integers between 1 and 100. Actually, look at that. One of them was 100. And if you look, my cell here is A10, and the formula is still there. And that's what that dragging function did. And to show how that dragging function can work in other cases, if I wanted, I could go across. And these are all randomly generated integers as well, but we don't really need to see that. Now, the second thing I wanted to show you was how to do it on the TI-84. So what you have to do is, I'm going to clear out my memory real quick. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say, alright, I want to generate a random integer. I go to math, which is right here. I go over to PRB, and it's number 5. Now I want it to be between 1 and 100. And if I just do this, I get one random integer, which isn't terribly useful because I'd have to do that 20 times. So if I wanted to do 20 random integers, I'd go to math, over to PRB, go down to number 5, I type 1, comma, 100, and then comma again, and I'm going to tell the calculator I want 20 random integers. Now if I do that, I get my random integers, but they're all right here, and I have to scroll over, and that in itself is kind of problematic. And so I'm going to do this one more time, but watch what I do this time. I'm going to go PRB, down to number 5. I'm going to type in my 1, my comma, my 100. I'm going to tell it that I want 20 of them. But here's the neat thing. There's a little button down here, and nobody ever uses it. It says store. I press second and 1, and that really means L1. And so I press enter. And you'll notice it's 28, 28, 13, 6, which is kind of weird because 28 times and 28, 28. But if I go to stat and I go to edit, here are my 20 randomly generated integers. And it tells you my fifth one was 5. Now I want to point something out, which is pretty obvious because of this example. Just because they're randomly generated doesn't mean that they can't repeat. And right there, it did repeat. Now I'm going to show you one last thing, and this is kind of nifty. I'm going to get back out of here. If I wanted to flip a coin 100 times, let's say 150, or well, let's say 200 times, all right, and figure out what that would look like, I could go to math and do a random generator, and once again, I'd pick 5, and I'd say 0, comma 1, and I'd say, well, 0 is the tail, and 1 would be head, so the first time it was a 0, second time it's a 1, third time it's a 1, fourth time it's a 1, fifth time it's a 0. But once again, that's not really useful. But like I said, if I want to do this 250 times, it's going to be kind of obnoxious. But there's a couple things you can do. You can do 0, comma 1, comma 250, and then, like I said, you could store it in one of your lists, but that's going to be really, really, really problematic. So there's another way you can go about this. I'm going to press second and stat. And then I'm going to go over to math. I'm going to go down to sum. And so once again, I press second and stat. I went down over to math. And it says sum. And then I'm going to go back to math, pick my random integer, and say 0, 1, 250. And watch this. It tells me that the sum of all the random integers is 129, which means there's 129 ones out of the 250 tosses. And so let's say, what's 250 minus 129? It's 121. So look at that. 129 ones came up, 121 zeros came up. And that's to be expected. Alright, so I hope that was useful. There's two ways of doing this. So that's all. Random generated integers. Good luck. Bye.